On this episode of Fee-Based Financial Planning Mastery, I'm going to talk about the whole concept and idea behind work-life balance. And you know what? Anyone who believes this is possible is fooling themselves. However, I have a solution.
Running a successful fee-based financial planning business is tough, and escaping the shackles of the commission-based financial planning practice is terrifying. When all you want to do is learn from those who know, learn from financial planners who are there on the front lines doing it each and every day. What if you could just open their kimono and take a look inside to learn what works and what doesn't? Now there's a place where the secrets to running a fee-based financial planning business are revealed to those who believe. Fee-based financial planning mastery. Ease your mind.
Hi everyone, it's Scott Plaskett here, and thanks for joining me. In this podcast, you will learn what's working and what's not in the world of fee-based financial planning. In each episode, I'm going to open my kimono and let you take an insider's look at what's working and what's not in my practice to help you take your business to the next level. I've been a fee-based certified financial planner since the early 90s, so believe me, I know the challenges you're facing. So get ready to learn not from a teacher, coach, or guru, but from a colleague who's on the front lines just like you. And I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my email internet newsletter to get the most up-to-date tips on how to build and grow your fee-based financial planning practice by going to feebasedfinancialplanningmastery.com. Hey everybody, listen, I wanted to just give you a bit of an update on what's new with me. I've had a recent experience that I just wanted to share with you. And what had happened was I had signed up for at our cottage. We have a water ski course, and I'm quite involved in slalom skiing, or I'm not quite involved, but I really love the sport. I'm sort of a rookie at it in my own terms. I guess I'm probably better than average, but there's a lot of guys that are better than me. Anyways, we had this great opportunity. One of the other cottagers on our lake has it goes to a water ski school in Florida and Miami and has been all around, and has met up with Aaron Larkin. And Aaron Larkin, for those of you who don't know anything about the water skiing scene, was the 2011 Men's Masters World Champion. And so anyways, he was brought up to the lake to give a clinic. And so I was one of the people who was invited into the clinic, and so had a wonderful time with that. But the one thing I really recognized with that clinic was, I was learning from the best in the world. And the one thing I recognized, because I've had other coaches and whatnot, and I went to another water ski school just for one lesson that's very close to my home, and it's actually put on by other world champions, other world record holders, actually, the McClintocks. And the McClintocks are a water ski family that, for anybody who knows the water ski scene, they are sort of an icon family in the whole water ski scene. And their daughter Whitney and Jason are very accomplished water skiers. Whitney, I think, is or was the current world champion women's water skier for slalom skiing, and Jason is sort of one of the top skiers in the world. Anyways, long story short, I was there for a clinic, and I there at the McClintocks school last year, and I had a lesson from one of their teachers, and he was definitely an accomplished skier and knew what he was talking about, and he was probably better than average. But the coaching wasn't all that, wasn't revolutionary. But then when I had a lesson from Aaron, and I had two lessons, I had two sessions with him, and and I had a session last year. And what I recognize is that, when you're dealing with somebody at that level, at the elite level, somebody who is definitely been there before and has walked in those shoes and has sort of experienced everything that there is to experience with the learning process and the knowledge acquisition process and sort of the what goes on, and in this case, because it's a very physical sport, what happens to your body and what it's everything that goes into getting the job done when it goes through going through the water ski course. And again, for those of you who don't know, all you need to do is really go through the course and you ski around 6 buoys, and that should be it. But it's very difficult. It's a very I heard somebody say that it was a sport, the only sport in the world where you can go from 70 kilometers an hour down to 10 kilometers an hour, back to 70 kilometers an hour in less than 2 seconds. So it's a very demanding sport and very, somewhat of an aggressive sport. And it's actually the sport that a handful of years ago I snapped the Achilles tendon in my left ankle because I had a water ski accident, went over the front of the ski. My foot never came out of the ski boot. And lo and behold, when you stretch a body's tendon to beyond where it should be stretched, it tends to snap. So that was just sheerly due to my own, I guess we'll call it poor performance or poor technique or whatever. So from that point, once I went through the rehab and whatnot, I really wanted to focus on getting better at that. So when I had the opportunity to ski with Aaron, I jumped on it. Well, it's interesting how somebody with the wisdom and the true know-how can just narrow in, and not just with me, but every skier during the session was saying the same thing, that he was able to narrow in on exactly what we needed to do, and it could have been, it can be the smallest little thing, but he was able to narrow in and zero in on that one thing, and he said, "Here, work on this, try this," and all of a sudden you do it. And it would make a huge difference. So skiing behind the boat with him driving, I was able to post my own personal best going through the water ski course. And again, I'm very new to the water ski course. I'm not new to slalom skiing, but I'm new to proper slalom skiing, we'll call it. Anyways, I had a ball, and the point I'm trying to make with that is that when you can seek out the best in whatever field you're looking for, and you can gain some knowledge from that, the wisdom from that, from those elite people and people who are sort of have been there before. And one of the criteria, I don't know if you haven't listened to some of the previous podcasts, one of the things that I say is that whenever I go to hire somebody as either a coach or, a mentor or something like that, I always want to make sure that they have lived in the trenches. They have actually not only lived in the trenches, but continue to have one foot in the trenches. I don't really like it when somebody maybe has done something and then they decide to then stop doing it and go into teaching it. I feel that it's important that if you're going to be teaching it, you need to have one foot in the trenches at all times to be able to understand what it is people are going through right now, what the challenges are right now, so you can help them. Because you're then, if you're the elite person and you're the one who's going to trudge and set the new course and sort of, map out sort of where the future is going in whatever your industry is, then you want to make sure that you're actually practicing in that industry and that the coach that you're working with is practicing there. So that's one thing that I had, and I tell you, in every facet of my life, whenever I can hire a coach or work with somebody who has been there before, and again, that is one of my requirements, that they've actually got one foot in the trenches at all times, then I just feel that everybody can just grow so much better because they're able to zero in on the small little details. And no truer words have been said when they say that the success is in the details and the importance is in the details. So anyways, that was an experience that I had, and it was just sort of a nice little parallel between, doing something that has nothing to do with financial planning and fee-based financial planning and whatnot, but focusing on, but just the experience of hiring that elite coach just made my skiing just accelerate and just become that much better. So my progress in that case is tremendous, and I've done a lot of what I call failing forward. I mean, I had my accident many years ago, which really is probably one of the worst, I guess, physical accidents and physical not ailments, but accidents that you can have. But I came through that and really focused on saying, I failed there. I know exactly what I did wrong. Now I just want to get better, but I want to do it properly. So I sought out the best and have the privilege of being able to ski with Aaron. Probably once a year now. I think he's going to be coming back to do that. Now he's from New Zealand, happens to live in Miami, and our cottage is in Quebec and north of Montreal. So it's great that he can come out once a year and give us that coaching. So anyways, that's something new that has been happening in my life, and I'm very excited about it. And it's just a bit of a passion, and I realize that I really, I do love that sport, and it is just such a thrilling sport. So if you ever get a chance to do some water skiing, definitely take the opportunity. And there's a bit of a steep learning curve, but I tell you, it is such a rewarding and a fulfilling sport to take advantage of. Now, I also want to give a shout out to over the last little bit, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask some great questions. I've been communicating with some great people from all around the world. So I want to give a shout out to John R. and Peter V. And I hope I'm pronouncing this name correctly, Wynand. I also want to give a shout out to Philip M., James D., and Daryl B. Everybody who has reached out to me, I've thoroughly enjoyed our conversations electronically, and I've thoroughly enjoyed helping you out in any way that I can. And for those of you who haven't reached out to me, I really encourage you, if you have any questions whatsoever, and if you haven't gone to our website at feebasedfinancialplanningmastery.com and requested the report, the special report that's on there, one of the things that will happen is we'll put you on a bit of an autoresponder. One of the questions that I ask you just after you've received the report is, listen, is there one small niggly little thing that is bugging you that you just wish you could get that answer to? That's what I want you to email me, that question. I want you to send it out to me, and I'm going to do my best to give you the best response that I can, because I know that oftentimes it's not the big things that are holding us back, but the little things. And if we can just give you some insight or guidance, because, I tell you, both my feet are in the trenches right now. So I'm happy to help any way that I can. So definitely, if you have any questions, please definitely go to our website and send me an email. Just go to the about me page or the contact us page or whatever, and just send me an email. And I'm more than happy to answer, as fully and as in detail as I can. And for those of you who have received some responses from me, I've had a lot of people say, "Hey, gosh, thanks so much. The thanks for writing so much. I mean, the response was huge, and you really fully flushed out the challenge that I was facing. So I really appreciate that." So, anyways, that's I just wanted to mention that, and just to encourage people, definitely reach out into the community, and as well. The community isn't just the Fee-Based Financial Planning Mastery website, but also the Fee-Based Financial Planning Mastery LinkedIn group. We've had a lot of people joining the group over the last few months, and there's been some great discussions. I mean, people are putting posting questions in there, and other people are chiming in. It's really a very active group. So if you're in the fee-based financial, not even fee-based, but if you're in the financial advising community, and this is part of you're in that industry, then this is where I would encourage you to go to this the LinkedIn group. One of the things that I do require is that you are a practicing financial advisor, financial planner, or in that capacity, because I want to make sure that it's a group full of people who are actually with both feet in the trenches, because that's where you get the best responses. And there's been a lot of people who are very active in the group and are giving some great responses. And it's nice to I'm learning a whole bunch from a lot of other people in the group. And I encourage you to take advantage of that. It's a free group. You do need to go through, just basically put a join request in there, and then I'll take a look at the request and make sure that you are part of the industry, because I want to make sure it is people who are in the industry, because that's where we're going to get the best insight as to what people feel is the future of our industry. And anyways, there's lots of great questions being asked, and so I encourage you, if you haven't gone to the LinkedIn group, definitely do that. And if you haven't really embraced LinkedIn, LinkedIn is, I'm finding it pretty fascinating, and it's pretty interesting to see all of what's going on LinkedIn. And so when I created this LinkedIn group, I really just created it because I thought, let's see what happens. But man, it took off. And so I really encourage you to take advantage of that. So anyways, check out the Fee-Based Financial Planning Mastery LinkedIn group. All you need to do is go to LinkedIn and go to the search bar and just type in Fee-Based Financial Planning Mastery. And sure enough, the LinkedIn group will show up, and then click on the join request. And we'll make sure that we get you set up and in the group as quickly as possible. The other thing I'll ask is, if you are enjoying the podcast, which I know a lot of you are, if you wouldn't mind going to iTunes and giving me a review, I'd really appreciate that. I'm really trying to get the iTunes or the podcast into the recognized lists there, because it is, in my mind, I haven't really found any other podcasts that are sort of speaking to this particular industry and market. There are some others that are out there, and some that seem to start up, but then they kind of fizzled out a little bit. So I really would just love it if you could go and give me an honest review. If it's a good review, great. If it's a bad review, great. But we have had a lot of people give reviews, and I really appreciate that. So if you wouldn't mind heading there and just giving a quick review. It's interesting when you do reviews on iTunes, the reviews only show up for the iTunes geographic region that you're from. So if you're in Canada, then your review will only show up on the Canadian site. If you're in the U.S., then your review will show up on the U.S. site. So I will go in and I will check all the reviews and try to check them up from all the different geographic regions. And I really appreciate all of those of you who have gone and posted a review. And I really would love it if more of you could go and do that, because I really want to try and get this podcast to the next level in iTunes. And it just as soon as they get iTunes, from what I understand, when they start to see that there's lots of reviews coming along, then they will put a little bit more emphasis on it, and they might put it in the new and noteworthy. And really, just want to make this podcast sort of the go-to resource for the financial advising industry and community. So, anyways, thanks everybody for all of you who have put the iTunes review, and I really look forward to seeing all the new reviews. Anyways, that's what's new with me, and I think it's now time to get into the feature, the main segment.
And now for our feature segment.
I know you've heard the term before, the whole concept of work-life balance, and how, a lot of gurus and a lot of people promote the idea of really, you need to find work-life balance and all this. Well, you know what? In my mind, it's total bullshit, because work-life balance is, I don't know, it's just not possible. When I thought about this topic, the mere repeating of the phrase work-life balance made me feel a sense of guilt. And that's not what we're after here. You see, I then Googled the phrase, and what I found didn't really surprise me, but it did foster that sense of guilt. Some of the recommendations or solutions to finding that perfect balance were things like, you need to track your time, because it's important to find that work-life balance. In other words, what they're saying is perhaps you're not getting what is important done, and just, you're keeping your hands busy. In other words, maybe you're just lazy. Well, you know what? I don't think we are lazy. I think we are, there is the whole idea that maybe you are not, there is a sense of keeping your hands busy. But you know what? In this business, we work hard, and you know what? There's just a lot to do. So you tell me, do you feel that if you tracked your time more, and if you really mapped out exactly what you did and when you did it, that it would give you more work-life balance? I don't think so. One of the other recommendations was leave work at work. Really? Is this actually possible? Think about it. You show me a fee-based financial planner who can leave work at work. I just don't think this is possible. It drives me nuts when I hear people talking about this. Like, oh, you have to be able to, stop work as soon as you leave, and then you can spend all this time with your family. Well, you know what? That's an idealistic situation, and it is something that I think, maybe we all want to try and work toward. But I don't know. You tell me, sometimes my kids are my inspiration for some of the challenges that I'm faced with. I may look at, actually, I'll tell you a story about this. I was sitting with one of my daughters, and she came down, and she actually she had a project that she was working on, and she started working on it. And I was looking at it and going, what the heck are you doing? What are all these things that you're drawing on this sheet? And she looked at me, and she goes, oh, it's a mind map. I said, it's a mind what? She goes, it's a mind map. And I thought, mind map? You're serious? And I started doing some looking into it. I thought it was a powerful tool. Well, guess what? You know how much I use mind maps. Well, that mind map was created because I was working with my daughter on her homework. And it was as a result of that I got this idea. Well, so you tell me, you can't leave work at work. It's going to just come with you. The majority of recommendations in, the posts that I Googled made it seem as if it was evil to be working on something you were passionate about outside of the stereotypical 9 to 5 hours. The problem is you can't turn off passion. And this is one of the biggest challenges, is that, I think a lot of this is put together, a lot of this discussion, a lot of this teaching, a lot of the work-life balance concept is written or is developed by people who don't work for themselves. It's written by people who work for an organization. When you have a very strong feeling about a thing, when you're passionate, it creeps into every aspect of your life. And this passion acts as your guide beacon. It acts as sort of the directional thing that just sort of moves you in the positive direction that you want to go. So trying to turn off that beacon is virtually impossible. And doing so successfully simply means denying yourself and attracting a lot of guilty feelings along the way. In my mind, life is meant to be lived. Don't we want to be engaged in life for life? And that means learning how to work with your passion and learning how to manage that passion. So how then do we keep that work-life balance? Well, I'll keep the answer simple for you. We don't, okay? The work-life balance concept, throw it out. Throw out the whole idea, because I don't believe it's possible. You can't cut it off. You can't turn it off. When you're working in this industry, when you're working in this structure, in this facet of life, and you're running your business, and you're dealing in this sensitive nature. I mean, we deal with a topic that is probably one of the top two biggest fears in anybody's life. The biggest challenges they're faced with are their finances. And so we deal with a very sensitive topic that they oftentimes don't even talk to their spouses about. I mean, that's why I remember when I first started in this business over 20 years ago, somebody said to me, the best thing you could do is you can get a psychology degree, because that will become more valuable to you as time goes on. Well, they were certainly right. For all of you who are practicing financial advisors out there, you tell me how many times you've been sitting there in a meeting, husband and wife, spouses, whatever, and suddenly you bring up a topic and each of them thinks the other is going to answer a certain way, and suddenly they each answer differently, and they look at each other and go, "Really? You think that way?" That's where the psychology degree comes in. So don't tell me that that's not an important component to this whole process. In any event, the whole idea between work-life balance is, in my mind, just not possible. You've got to be able to find a solution that allows you to embrace that passion, because that passion is kind of what makes you happy. It's what drives you. So you need to embrace that and figure out a way of managing that passion. So if it really isn't possible to find that work-life balance that people have been talking about, what's a planner to do? Well, understand that I have spent many, many, many years working on this in my life. The answer is to seek not work-life balance, because I don't think that's possible. The answer is to seek a work-life harmony. Wikipedia has the term harmony listed beside the term peace. So really, what we're striving for is a kind of peace with our passion. So let's talk about tips and tricks to find just that. There are many components that need to be looked at when it comes to finding the harmony in your life. So I want to talk about a bunch of them here. The first one I want to talk about is called self-management. Now, first of all, the question you need to ask yourself is, are you in control of yourself? Are we in control of ourselves? I mean, do we have the ability to control ourselves, or are we just kind of coasting and just whatever we do, we kind of do? We're not really proactive in any of our decisions. Well, are we getting enough sleep, for example? Do we get enough or any exercise? Are we getting the right nutrition? Are these are some of the things that are we in control of, or are we just kind of, like zombies, just going through life and just, if we're in the car and we're the road warrior type and you're going through drive-thrus and you're eating the crappy drive-through food, you're not thinking about it, you're working hard and you're working, both burning the candle at both ends, and you're not getting enough sleep, and you're not even thinking about working out because you think, oh my God, it would just make me so much more tired. So are we in control of ourselves? And so this is one of the things that actually in my life has become a bit of a it's a confidence boost. We'll put it that way. So, are you getting enough sleep? Do you get enough exercise? Are you getting the right nutrition? I tell you this has always been my biggest challenge. But here's what I've begun to migrate to in terms of how I'm dealing with the challenges as a busy entrepreneur. And I tell you, I'm busy, really busy. When it comes to sleep, exercise, and nutrition. So first of all, let's talk about some of these things. So sleep, it's amazing how much better you feel when you get a good night's sleep. All too often, I'll come home from a really busy day, say 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, sometimes 10 or 11 at night, feeling denied from, time with my wife. And, at that point, my kids are in bed, so I know I'm not going to have any time with them. But feeling a little denied. Well, we'll open a bottle of wine and we'll have a drink together and we'll unwind and talk a little bit about our days. What I see as the problem here is that my sleep gets affected. You see, my sleep is, I personally need about 8 hours of sleep. And, it's sometimes you don't always get that. But I also have recognized that my peak performance is first thing in the morning. So when I go to bed late at night, I don't get enough sleep because I do get up early. I just naturally get up early, and I tend to. That seems to be where my peak hours are. That's sort of where my whole idea of my Monday morning 4 a.m. Ritual comes, where I just get up early and I get my week started, and I'm ahead of everybody. Anyways, I've identified that the reason why I'm having so many meetings, with that are keeping me late. That take me well into the evening is so that I can meet with all of my clients for our review meetings without having these meetings take place during the summer months when I want to take some time off with my family at the cottage. So, it's being in control. I talked about this, at the very beginning. This is self-management. Are we in control of ourselves? Are we in control of our business? So what we do is we plan out all of our meetings, and we make sure that we plan out all of the times that we're going to meet, and we sort of move people onto a bit of a schedule. But I find that during those times, I tend to be working long days. I mean, it's not uncommon for me to have 10 to 15 meetings a day. So I'll have, I'll go long and hard, and it does, take a bit of a toll. So this is where finding solutions is important. And so what we're entering into is sort of a re-engineering phase of our team to reduce the number of review meetings that I have. And so, I'm looking at it to be sort of more like a dental office. And I don't know if this is going to totally work. I hope it does, because it's definitely something that I feel is going to be a bit of a secret to our growth. And I've seen it, this type of model work quite well, kind of like a dental office. So, ask yourself this question: how many times has your dentist actually cleaned your teeth? Usually it's done by the hygienist. They assist with your maintenance of your teeth. Well, the dentist is the one that sets up your plan. The dentist is the one that, does all of the root canals and the surgeries and the reconstructions and the, whatever is necessary. The dentist is the one that does that. But the dentist isn't the one that cleans your teeth. And once your mouth is right at tip-top shape, do you need the dentist necessarily to do all the work? Probably not. Really what you need is a really good, talented, focused hygienist who can come in, do the cleaning, and get you back out on your way. And maybe the dentist comes in and does a quick little review and says, listen, I've looked at your file, I've looked at your x-rays, I've looked at everything. Everything looks great. Perfect. But if they recognize that there's a challenge, what they'll do is they'll make an appointment, come on back in, we're going to take a look at this particular detail, and here's some solutions that we'll be talking about. And so, the dentist is always the one that does that. So what I'm recognizing is once a client's financial plan is running on autopilot and is really set up and everything is kind of moving forward in a nice organized fashion, what's required is a keen ability to report on the plan's progress and whether or not the plan is on track. And if some major life event or planning is required, then that's when the planner, me, that's when I'm brought in to do the recalibration of the plan and to deal with the issue. But I believe that in our business, we need to be looking at it as we need to have a financial hygienist, somebody who can come in and really do a full once-over review process, do all the checks and balances and detailed looking at, is everything on track? And if it is on track, great, everything's super. If it's not on track, you know what? Maybe we need to bring in the planner to get it back on track. And so that's kind of the solution that we've had, because I tell you, I mean, I do run into situations where I have lots and lots of meetings. And so we're testing some of these solutions and really looking forward to this next 12 months, because we really feel that it's going to be a big stepping stone for our practice. And so I'll keep you apprised on how all that is unfolding. So, taking a close look at what's working and what isn't in terms of your self-management will only allow you to make decisions that will improve your lifestyle. So that's sort of the essence behind self-management. And you want to, take a look at that and say, listen, I need to get in control of me so that I can get in control of my business. Because if you're not in control of yourself, you really can't be in control of your business. Now I want to talk about time management. This is another major component to this whole process of work-life harmony as opposed to work-life balance. Because, the whole time management thing, if you go and Google work-life balance, what you're going to find is they're going to say, listen, you're probably wasting your time and you're not being as efficient with your time. So, you need to be aware of that, and you need to find solutions to be much more efficient with your time. Well, the problem is when you're a business owner or entrepreneur, the problem doesn't lie in the inefficient use of the opportunities. The problem lies in having too many opportunities. And that's one of the things that I've really found is that when you really start to embrace this whole business model, it's not that you don't have enough opportunities to work on, it's that you have too many opportunities. And one of the wonders of being in business for yourself is that you're in control of your destiny. And that's one of the attractions to this whole process. So you can create your own opportunities. And herein lies the problem. You see, most people succeed in business because they're able to say yes to as many opportunities as possible, and oftentimes more than is possible. In other words, you have too many opportunities, and these opportunities are running you ragged. So here's the solution. The solution lies not in saying yes to opportunities. The solution lies in saying no to opportunities. This is the essence of my ideal week mind map. And if you haven't seen the ideal week, the template mind map, then definitely just go to the Fee-Based Financial Planning Master website and just in the search section there, look for the ideal week or the time management solution that I promote. And in there is a whole mind map you can download. There's a free mind mapping tool, Mindmeister, in the resources section. Just click on that link, open up a free Mindmeister account. You'll be taken right to the website, open up their free account, and then use the template. So there's a template that is available to you in our website. Just use that template, and it will give you the ability to get the mind map and just start using it, because it's a very, very powerful tool that I want everybody to take advantage of, because this is really the biggest tool that I've ever come across that has helped me the most when it comes to time management. And it has helped me the most because it allows you to say no. You see, the tool simply allows me to identify all of my opportunities so that I can say no to all of them except for 3. And once the ideal mind map is completed, it allows me to do the following. I say no to everything except the meeting prep. So the first thing I do is I need to make sure I am fully prepared for my meetings. So I go through and I list all of the meetings in the mind map, list them all, make sure I have an idea of what I'm trying to accomplish at each meeting, and I go through, and that's part of my 4 a.m. ritual, is I'll go through every meeting and I make sure that every meeting is totally prepared for before. My goal is before 9 o'clock on Monday morning. So I've got the entire week's meetings all set. And I mean all set where they are, if I've got documents or reports that I want to go through, those reports and documents are printed and in envelopes with the client's name on the envelope, all laid out on my desk or my assistant's desk to basically walk in. And that allows me just to walk in, grab the file, move into the client meeting. I've already been through the review of it once. and I can sit down and I can have a really great meeting with a client. And then I come out, I hand the file back to my client services manager with my control sheet, which basically says, here are the things that we need to do for this particular client. And then she takes care of it, puts all the tasks on the system, and everything gets done. And I move right on to the next one, and it just sort of flows through that way. So that's one of the ways that I'm able to go through a lot of meetings. Now, but it's important to say no. No to everything else. The first thing is say no to everything except the meeting prep, and then you need to get the meeting prep done. Then I say no to everything except for my 3 critical must-dos. And the 3 critical must-dos are very important. These are the things that if nothing else gets done that week, those 3 things have to get done. They are above all else totally absolute must-dos. Then I say no to everything except for the first project I really want to work on. So this is where I'm building my mind map, building my ideal week. I've listed all the clients that I need to do prep meeting for. I've listed the 3 critical must-dos. I've now gotten very clear on what I need to be focusing on as far as my the projects. So if I get my 3 critical must-dos done, and it could be one of the projects that I really want to work on, but if I get those 3 things done, I need something else to do. So I've got a list of other projects that if I don't get to them, it's not critical because I've got my 3 critical must-dos. But if I get those critical must-dos done, and my goal with those is I want to get those done by the end of Monday. By the end of that day, my goal is to have all of those 3 critical must-dos done. So then I can start working on some of the projects that I really want to start moving forward. In other words, I say no to everything except for what I have determined is important for my week to be successful. And then nothing else matters. I focus solely on that. And you know what I find myself doing is I actually find myself coming back to that mind map because, life gets pretty hairy and you can get off target or off your focus a little bit. And so it's a focusing tool that allows me to say, okay, what do I need to work on next? Because I got so many things that are coming at me. I need to just clear the slate. What is the most important thing? I've already planned that out. So I go to my ideal week, take a look at the mind map and say, okay, what haven't I done? I go through the process, go through the steps and say, okay, now I've done all the meeting prep. I've got my critical must do. I'm going to work on that. And it just allows me to focus on getting that done. So definitely take advantage of that. Now, as far as time management, there's another time suck that exists in our life, and it's called email. Email is certainly a time suck. So how do you deal with that? Well, it's kind of simple actually, but it requires a bit of discipline. It's simple because what you really want to do is never look at your email unless you're able to actually deal with it. I find so many people have their smartphone set up so that it vibrates or alerts them every time an email comes in, which means you're pretty much always being interrupted from your focused work. So and what I've done on my phone is, I have an iPhone, I've just gone into the notification section of the iPhone and I turn off the notifications. I don't want to know when an email comes in. I don't want it to alert me because I don't want it to be in control of me, which goes right back to the first step. I want to be in control of it. So this allows me to ensure that I only look at email when I'm able to actually respond to the emails that have come in. So basically what I say to myself is, listen, I'm not going to check my email unless I've got the time to sit down and reply and have the ability to reply to those emails so that I can deal with them. That is an efficient use of time. I have notifications for text messages. Those I want to come right through to me because I feel that anybody I give my text message or my text message account to, those are people that need to get in touch with me right then and there. So I only give this out to people who I want to or need to communicate with, and so that's one of the things that allows the urgent stuff to come through. And I've got certain people in my life that have that, and I just make sure that they're the ones that if it's really urgent, then they're going to get in touch with me. Take a look at your email inbox. Now, I use Gmail or Google Apps for our business, and Gmail is sort of one of the apps that's within that the Google Apps platform. And Gmail has a wonderful algorithm that somehow, I don't know how, but somehow it knows which of my emails are important and which ones are not. Then it sorts them into groups. It sorts them into an important category, a everything else category. So when it comes time to work on my email, I can work on what's important first and then look at everything else second. And that's really, I found that to be really, really powerful because, at first when it came out, I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. And all of a sudden, I don't know how it did it, but it just was able to see the difference between my really important email and the ones that were just kind of not so important. I don't know how it knew it, but it just knows. So that's been a real time saver for me because, boom, I go into my email account, I look at the top list, and those are the ones that are critically important. And then if I've got to do something that I can't get to it right then and there, one of the rules that I have is if I can deal with something in 5 minutes, I'm going to deal with it completely. And if I can't deal with it in 5 minutes, I put a little star next to it, move it into my starred category, and then I know those are items that I need to take a look at that are going to take a little bit more time. So, I'd also recommend do the same thing with your Facebook notifications, your Twitter notifications. Get control of these time sucks. And the smartphones are very powerful, but you need to be in control of it. So I'd recommend turning off those notifications because really they're not critical, but they are something that's important. So you be in control of it and you go and do it when you're able to deal with it and don't let it control you. Now, another area is stress management. In my opinion, all you can do on this one is simply manage it. You see, you can't eliminate stress, and nor do you want to eliminate stress. I mean, sometimes stress is good. A certain level of stress is required to keep us motivated moving forward. So, it is important to have a certain level of stress in your life. I mean, if you were just stress-free, you wouldn't do anything. I mean, you just kind of, I don't know, you'd be this blob that didn't do anything. So, stress can be good, but stress to an extreme takes us to that extreme. It's really not good. So, when Sir Richard Branson, or for those of you who don't know, he's the founder of Virgin, I guess the Virgin group of companies. He was asked what the number one thing he would recommend for all business owners. And he said that exercise was the number one tip. Now, we all know that exercise is one thing that will actually help us reduce and manage our stress because it just allows us to be stronger to deal with that stress. For every hour you put into exercise, studies show that you gain almost 2 extra hours of productivity. So I'm definitely not going to argue with Sir Richard Branson on this one because, man, I mean, this guy is successful. He's built some pretty amazing companies, and I'd have to think he knows what he's talking about. So definitely take that one. And really embrace it. It is difficult. I get it. It's very difficult to find, exercise. And another concept that I kind of tend to gravitate to is I actually don't like to exercise, but I do like to be active. And so what I do is I say, you know what? I'm going to just make sure I'm much more active, that I do things on the weekend, that I do anything that I do is an active sport. So if it's in the wintertime, I'm a snow skier. I do slalom ski racing and giant slalom racing, and that keeps me active. I ski with my kids. My kids are into racing. My wife is a novice skier, and so she's out there. So it's a family event. We get to spend some great time together. We get to ski. It's very healthy. We go for hikes, snowshoeing. We tend to make sure that during the holiday breaks, the Christmas breaks, the Thanksgiving, all this sort of thing, we do tend to make sure that we are fairly active. We go on bike rides, we go on hikes, we do this. And so I kind of look at that as sort of how to stay somewhat fit. Now, I also kind of like the idea of not exercising necessarily for, to be the leanest or the fittest person in the world. Really what I do when it comes to exercise, and I saw myself doing this when it comes to the water skiing, was that I found that I would start doing a little bit more working out because I wanted to be better at water skiing. So I just tended to say, hey, listen, I want to be better at this, so I need to be stronger, so I'm going to start doing more pull-ups, and I'm going to start doing some kettlebell workouts, and I'm going to start building my cardio and whatnot because I want to be a better water skier. So I had a reason for doing it that was motivating me and keeping me doing it. So if you don't have that reason, if you're just doing it, I find sometimes it just you tend not to not stick with it. So definitely find ways of building an active lifestyle into your life, because that, I think, is just a much better way of doing it. And then if you find something that you're really passionate about, that you really have a lot of interest in, that is an activity, whether it be baseball or hockey or whatever it happens to be, then you might just find yourself wanting to work out a little bit more in order to make yourself better at that. So that's one thing that's really worked for me. The other thing you want to be aware of is change management. And change management and stress management seem to work together. For some people, just resist change, for whatever reason. But I find that the reason why their stress level when it comes to change increases is because they don't want things to change. Well, here's a news flash for you. You must change or you will die. Physiologically, you are always changing. Your cells are growing. Just look at basic things. Look at your hair, your fingernails. It's always changing. And if you're not changing, then you basically will, I guess you'll whittle away and die. I mean, it's just your cells are constantly regrowing, and certain cells are dying off, and the new ones are coming on. I mean, this is just the way life is. So everything we do and everything that we are is always changing. It needs to, in order to keep fresh. So when you resist change, you're simply going to shorten your life expectancy. And so embrace change. Don't seek out change. Don't, I can be held accountable for this, and sometimes I would get bored. Sometimes we do. We get bored of what's happening. We get, and this happens in marketing all the time, where you take a look at an ad and you say, you know what, we've been running this ad for a long time. Well, one of the reasons why I only make decisions on our marketing based on the metrics is because I know I have a tendency of saying, hey, I've seen this ad too many times. I'm kind of bored with it. So let's change it. Well, why would I change it? Because I'm bored? No, that's not a good enough reason. The only reason why I would change an ad is if I can make it work better for me. So that's why split testing is so important. You can take your ads, you can say, listen, I've got one ad that I'm going to run, and I'm going to do another ad, and I'm going to change one thing on that ad. And now I'm going to run them simultaneously. I'm going to flip between the two of them. And 50% of people are going to see one ad, and 50% of the people are going to see the other ad. Now, at the end of my test, I'm going to take a look at which one gave me more results or better results. That one is going to be the winner. So now suddenly the winner is now your A ad, and you're going to create then a rendition of the winning ad, but you're going to change one thing. And that's going to be how you're going to make your decisions. Don't make the decisions based on your boredom or the fact that you've seen it many times. Because you may have an ad that's working for you, or a piece of marketing that's working for you so well, and then you come along and you change it. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you just do it because you're bored with it? If it's continuing to generate leads for you, just stay focused on that. But continue split testing and always try and do and better the last one. So changing is important, and you have to embrace change, but you have to manage that change. So don't resist it. Expect that it's going to happen, and expect that it's just a natural course of the way things work. So people who kind of resist that change are going to kind of get left behind, and that's what I find in this industry is that the industry is changing so much. And people who are getting frustrated with the industry are the people who are resisting the fact that they've got to change because they don't want to change. Maybe they feel that change is going to require them to do too much. It's going to be a lot of effort. Well, you know what? It probably is. And if that's the place that you're at, maybe it's time to start moving on to something else. It often hurts when I see people who don't want to build their business to the point where they can eventually sell it. They just say, you know what, I'm just not going to change. I'm just going to continue going as long as I can. And then eventually, if I lose all my clients, or if my clients tend to, or whatever, then that's when I'll shut it down. Well, that's sad, actually, because we don't want to see that. You built a lifetime building up this business, and you really should be able to reap the rewards of it. So focus on building the business as a business, and expect that it just comes with change, and it's plain and simple. Now, another aspect, a component to building in a work-life harmony is you've got to be comfortable with technology management. And technology, oh my gosh, I mean, there's so much. Technology is, simply an everyday evolving area. I mean, it is changing all the time. Keeping up to date with the latest and greatest in technology, honestly, it's a thankless job. So, you've got to be able to manage this. Resist the temptation to always get the latest and greatest. I still have, right now, I'm currently working on the iPhone 4. Well, right now, at the time of this recording, I could get an iPhone 5. Well, that's 2 versions newer than what I currently have. Now, honestly, I've thought about getting the iPhone 5 because my iPhone 4 is really starting to slow down and can't keep up with a lot of the demands that I have for it. But I know we're close to the next version, so I'm kind of holding out till that version. But I don't upgrade my phone every single time a new version comes out. I looked at the iPhone 4S when it came out, and I thought, okay, well, it's interesting. It's got a few new things, but it's not worth the money to me, and I don't really feel it's necessary. I looked at the iPhone 5 when it came out. I thought, okay, well, that's interesting. It's kind of it was a new design. I thought I'd hold off a little bit because what I had was working. Now I'm at a point where it's not working as well as it could be. So when the iPhone 5S or the iPhone 6 or whatever the next version is going to be comes out, I'm definitely going to jump on that. But you need to resist the temptation to always be looking for the latest and greatest. Remember this: just because you can doesn't mean you should. And this is something that I've talked about before when it comes to technology, is that people who design technology and design software or hardware or whatever, oftentimes will build advancements into their solution that, it's kind of interesting, but is it really adding value to my life? So just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. And so I always look to things and say, well, I'm only going to upgrade if the upgrade is going to make my life better. And if it's not going to make my life better, then why would I upgrade? So I kind of look at it that way. One of the biggest problems with technology, I just mentioned something about this. The developers, they like to just add new bells and whistles to things. And you know what? Resist that temptation. Unless you can really see, wow, that's solving a problem. I look at what I do is I kind of look to say, okay, what areas in my business am I frustrated with? And then I Google those frustrations to see if there's any technology that can solve my frustration. I listen to podcasts from people who are, not just teaching, but doing. Goes back to the fact that they need to have one foot in the trenches at all times. And then if they mention a piece of technology that, solved a problem for them, I look into it. Again, I don't make the change just because it's there, but I definitely take a look at it. I just spend a few minutes just sort of checking it out and seeing if there's anything going on that I might be able to use in my business that would add value. So, continue listening to this podcast, because one of the things I like to do in the podcast is make you aware of the latest and greatest of technology that I'm using, because I think it's important. I've spent a lot of time on this. So, there's a lot of great technology out there. Not everything you should be using. I'm aware that, I'm still trying to figure everything into my life. And when I do, and I figure out a way to make it work, I'm going to let you know, and I'm going to let you know through this podcast. So, but what I won't do is I won't tell you about something until I've actually used it and have found a reason that I've embraced it into my life. I don't want you to waste your time if it doesn't work for me. So, I'm not going to say, hey, I found out about this, new whiz-bang technology that sounds kind of interesting. You know what? That would be a waste of your time. So I'm going to check it out. If it works for me, then I'll tell you how it's working for me. If it doesn't work for me, then I'm probably not even going to mention it to you. So here are some of the most utilized pieces of technology I'm currently using in my, call it, quiver of tricks. Well, the first one is a piece of hardware. It's a hardware piece. It's my iPhone. Pretty much every piece of software I use has an app for the iPhone. So in a pinch, I can always touch my main core services. If I'm on the golf course, if I'm traveling, if I'm wherever, I can definitely use my iPhone to tap into the resources, whether it be mind maps, whether it be my project management, my Salesforce, whatever it happens to be. That's what I'll do. Now, one of the things that I do with it is a efficiency tip is when I'm listening to a podcast. I actually listen to my podcasts in many times at 1.5 to 2 times speed. And so all you do is simply on your iPhone, just check it out. And there's it probably says 1x on your phone when you're listening to a show. Just touch it and it's going to change to 1.5x, and then it's going to go to 2 times or 2x. And now it first of all sounds a little weird because it does sound like chipmunks talking on helium. But you get used to it, and your mind just kind of rolls with it, and all of a sudden you're keeping up with the pace, and you're blasting through information in no time. I do it for audiobooks. It was one of the greatest efficiency tips I ever came across when I found out how to do it. So definitely take advantage of that. The other thing I'm using right now, Salesforce.com, very powerful, very scalable, very customizable, safe, secure. Pretty much every other cloud-based service connects to it. Tons of developers who can assist, who can assist you with customizing it. So there's always somebody you can turn to for that. It's totally integrated with Google Apps, which is another fantastic suite of tools. I just can't say enough good things about this amazing service for all of your customer relationship tracking needs. So definitely take, if you haven't looked at Salesforce.com, it to me it's fabulous. And I've had major other systems, and I just haven't come across anything better. Another one I talked about earlier in this show, which is Mindmeister. I do all of my brain dumps here to organize my thoughts. I do my ideal work week on Mondays, and it's to plan out my week. Once you start using it, you won't be able to stop. Actually, a listener to the show emailed or connected with me on LinkedIn and sent me a couple posts about some great other articles that were written on how other financial advisors are using mind mapping in the data gathering process. And I thought that was really interesting because, not only does it allow you to capture the client information in a very interesting way, but when it's visual like that, I get a sense that the client would be much more engaged in the whole process. This one particular planner was talking about how it promoted referrals because people found so much value in the mind mapping process in getting all their information into one place that they told their friends about it and started making referrals as a result of it. So definitely, I'm going to be looking at mind mapping much more seriously over the next year or so, and to see if there's anything new I can do to incorporate it into my practice, because it is a very, very powerful tool. And I tell you, once you start using it, you won't be able to stop. You'll just find more and more reasons and places to make it work for you. So I'll put links to all of the software that I'm talking about here. All of those links are going to be in the show notes. And if you can just simply go to the resources page on the fee-based financial planning mastery.com website, and everything is listed there for what I'm currently using. Another tool I use right now is called BaseCamp, and BaseCamp is every project I create. It's a project management software. Every project I create gets outlined on BaseCamp, and then each task is assigned to a team member for completion. So since a lot of what we do is repetitive, we actually template a lot of our larger projects. Things like producing a podcast, for example, creating a Facebook ad campaign. All of our marketing campaigns have templates. So once you've templated it, we can then assign the projects or the to-do list to team members, and then they can run with it, and with little of my input. So it's a fantastic tool for training purposes, for keeping everybody in the same place and on board with what's going on, and it just allows you to just do so much when it comes to managing your projects. And this is one of the big challenges we have. Remember when I said earlier that we have too many opportunities? Well, this is one of the places that I manage all of the opportunities that I decide that I want to work on. So definitely check that out. Boomerang for Gmail. This is something I've been using for quite a while. I can't remember who it was, but I think I can't remember who it was. One of the people that I gave a shout out to earlier, they actually also mentioned it to me in an email correspondence. So I thank you for sending that email to me, because Boomerang is a very powerful tool, and I don't know if it's for other platforms, but it's definitely Boomerang for Gmail. And it allows you to do things like, if you, I had a client the other day say, listen, can you follow up with me in a couple months just to make sure I've done all of the tasks that we outlined here, and just as a bit of a reminder. And I thought, oh yeah, absolutely, I can totally do that. And I'm thinking, how can I do this? Because I don't want to put a task on my calendar, because then, when the day comes, then I've got to actually do the task and I might not remember everything there is. So what I did was I went into Boomerang, or went into my Gmail account. I wrote an email out as if it were 2 months from today. And I said, okay, send this, but send it later. I want you to send it in 2 months. And so it's now set, ready to go. I don't even have to think about it. So I'm really happy about that. And I actually mentioned at the beginning of the email, I said, look, this is an automated email that's coming to you, but it's coming to you because of your request to have a reminder or an update email sent out to you. And so I did that because I thought, well, what happens if they get everything done and they talk to me and, they expect me to know that they've already completed it, and I forget to turn off the Boomerang, then I wanted them to realize that it wasn't coming from me, but it was an automated process. So I think when it happens, if they haven't got it done, then they're going to, it'll be a nice reminder. But if they have got it done, then I think it's going to be a pretty cool experience where they go, wow, that was kind of neat that it automatically came to me. And that just shows, our level of efficiency. So yeah, Boomerang for Gmail, check that out. WordPress, all of my websites are built on WordPress. These are, again, all these tools that I'm talking about right now are tools that I can't live without right now. So WordPress for sure, because you can build such amazing high quality websites using WordPress, and definitely, we would want you to check that out, because it's a tool that our hosting account, Bluehost, they are the ones that do the install. And so just go in, go to our resources tab or the toolbox tab in the website, click on the Bluehost link, open up your account, get your account set up, and then just have them activate a WordPress install, and then that's your website. And then you can just sort of customize it from there using some of the premium themes and whatnot, and it works like a charm. So definitely check that out. Aweber is something that I can't live without. It's our email autoresponder system, and it captures all of our emails and it responds to people, and it, we've got it tweaked so that it's pretty smart in how it does things. So when somebody comes on to a campaign, it automatically puts them onto our master email list. All of our campaigns run for 30 days, and then our master email list kicks in 30 days, after 30 days, so that we can nurture people who don't immediately respond to us for an appointment at the beginning. We know that we want to keep in touch with them, so then we migrate them over to the master list, and eventually they'll just get some nice emails coming from that. But if they do want to jump on things immediately, then we want to have that available to them as well. And so we've set that up, and Aweber is just an amazing tool for allowing that to happen. It integrates amazingly well with WordPress. It integrates with Salesforce. It's very, very cool. Another tool that we use is OptimizePress. Now, OptimizePress has just come out with a new version 2.0, and so you definitely want to check that out. This is where all of our marketing landing pages, and this is what was one of the banes of my existence for a long time, is that I couldn't create really high quality looking landing pages for our content. Well, OptimizePress solved that problem because it's a theme for WordPress, and so what you do is you install in your WordPress website another WordPress website. So if you go to our website, then all of our landing pages are in a website called ironshield.ca/landing, and then that's a completely separate website, but it looks like one and the same, and it allows us to manage all of our landing pages. Now, OptimizePress 2.0 has just come out, and we're in the process of just migrating over to it, but it looks amazing. The templates that they have are even better. The templates they had were great, and it was once you went through some of the tutorials, it was pretty easy to use and really made things look good. So definitely check out that. And again, all of those links are on the resources tab and toolbox of our website. So take these core programs and add them to your financial planning software and your illustration, or add to them your financial planning software and your illustration software. And then once you've done that, you've got the foundation for running your business. So, definitely take that because there's some great tools there. We use them on a regular basis, and it's something you want to definitely embrace. And the final thing when it comes to work-life harmony is leisure management. Now, leisure management is all about planning your time off. I start every year, and this is the beginning of my planning year. Every year I start off by laying out my time off. So basically, I schedule my time off. I'm not working for myself so that I can work all the time. Taking time off is critical to your growth. The whole rejuvenation process is where you recharge your batteries. But if you don't plan it, it won't happen. There's nothing worse than going to, taking some time off, but constantly thinking about work. And then you come back and you never really didn't feel like you had a vacation. So you want to make sure that you're, definitely taking advantage of your time off and managing that because, if you don't, one of the greatest tips I ever was given was from Dan Sullivan at the Strategic Coach. And he said, plan your days off, plan your free time, actually schedule the fun things that you want to do into those days so that they're sure to happen. You see, first of all, you need to know what you like to do. And one of the exercises when you're involved with the strategic coach is the strategic coach has their own time. What do they call it? The time management system. And that's where, if you've heard the terms before, the free, focus, and buffer days. Well, notice how I said free, focus, and buffer. The most important of the 3 days is your free days. And those are the days that you really need to plan. Well, you then have to ask yourself, well, what do I want to do on my free days? What do I enjoy? I tell you, when I first started, I didn't know what I enjoyed. So there's, you do want to spend some time and say, okay, what are the 3 things that if I was going to do nothing else on those days off, what are the things that I would want to do? And you know what? They may change as time goes on. They may change from different seasons and whatnot. But you really want to get clear on what are the things that really, really turn you on. And then you want to just you want to plan them. So if you really like bike riding, plan a bike ride. If you really like water skiing, plan your skis. Do this because if you don't, your days are just going to run away from you. And it's amazing how structured free days make for better work weeks. If you don't plan them, they'll simply fly by and you won't be rejuvenated because all you will do is think about work when you're not working. You need to train yourself to take time off. It's a muscle that you need to flex on a regular basis to the point that you can have an unstructured day off and find it rejuvenating. That, to me, is kind of the ultimate goal. Can you take time off and really get rejuvenated? Well, you got to train yourself to do so. So definitely plan your free days and take advantage of that. So, those are the main things that I think, when it comes, I'll restate them to you again. So there's self-management, being in control of yourself, time management, and again, it's not being more efficient, but it's being more focused on what's important and prioritizing. That is the important part of time management. Stress management, change management. You've got to embrace change. Technology management, and then the final one, which is leisure management, which really probably should have been the first one because lifestyle design is what this is all about. You're not in business necessarily just to create a job for yourself. You're in business to create a lifestyle. And the business is one of the tools that's going to allow you to live out that lifestyle. So remember, there is no such thing as work-life balance, where you can turn work off and then just go and have what's considered your life, and then you turn your life off and you go back to work. It just doesn't happen. It's not fair to tell a passionate person to stop thinking about their passion, because you know what the reality is? You're going to think about it. But you do need to provide yourself with the tools to allow you to bring harmony into your life. So when the creative idea hits you and you're, out playing with your kids, and, don't fret about it. Just take out your iPhone, make a note, because you've already set up the process for, if these ideas come to me, I'm going to either email myself or I'm going to use a tool like Well, here I go telling you about a tool that I haven't totally embraced that I wasn't going to tell you to use. But I have heard about Evernote. It's not something that I'm currently using. I haven't quite figured out how to totally embrace it into my lifestyle. But some people are using Evernote for managing all of their things. But, give yourself the tools to say, okay, wait a minute. I've got this idea. I'm just going to write it down. I'm forever, if I'm driving to the cottage with my family, I might say to my wife, hey, listen, Kath, I've got this idea. Can you just make a note, email it to me? And so she just goes and she, writes the email and emails it to me, and then I can move on. Lifestyle design is a ton of fun when you allow yourself the tools and the freedom to set up systems for success. So take all the information that I've given you in today's episode, embrace it, use some of the tools, and take advantage of all the tools that are there. This is what's working for me, and I hope it works for you. So get out there and simply build yourself a better business, but more importantly, build yourself a better life.
You've been listening to Scott E. Plaskett, a certified financial planner and industry veteran in the world of fee-based financial planning. Want free resources to help you build a better fee-based financial planning firm? Visit ilovefinancialplanning.com right now to register for Scott's Inner Circle email list, where you'll get front-of-the-line updates on the latest resources that are driving profits to Scott's fee-based financial planning practice. All of the resources are pulled directly from the highly acclaimed fee-based financial planning mastery academy. Go now to ilovefinancialplanning.com. Build a better business and make more money with your fee-based financial planning practice today.